Hey everyone, Calvin here. Today I'd like to share with you a piece of good news. That's how I passed my CFA Level 1 exam. I was surprised and I was so glad to receive their congratulations email because I was not expecting to pass the exam, although I spent much more time, almost twice as more time than a normal finance graduate would spend on it. CFA Institute says that normally it would require about 300 hours to pass the exam, but I was spending much more than that. That was because I did not major in finance and I did not take any preparation courses to take this exam. Basically, I was learning everything from ground zero by reading the materials that CFA Institute provided. That's it. I did not watch the videos that people were talking about. I just read the materials, took the quizzes, and took the mock exams. One of the reasons that I was so surprised to learn that I passed the exam is because CFA Level 1 passing rate in the recent few rounds are very low compared to its history. The pass rate was 25% in May this year and 22% in July, which is the lowest in its history. And in August, which was when I took mine, the pass rate was 26%. Just looking at how well I did in my quizzes and mock exams, I was not expecting to pass the exam. But I prepared for the exam as much as I could and wrote the exam as much as I can. And I fully utilized the exam time on that day, even I was not expecting to pass the exam. I was the last one who left the exam center on that day. I still remember that I arrived at the exam center around 2:30 and the exam started around 3 p.m. And there were two sessions, 2 hours and 15 minutes each session, and 19 multiple choice questions each session. And there was a 30-minute optional break between the sessions. And I brought a bottle of water and some snacks to the exam center to refill myself during the break between these two sessions. I was eating and drinking during the break, just enough to make myself feel comfortable, not too hungry or too full. And I didn't go to the washroom during the exam, but I did go to the washroom during the break, just to save my time and utilize the available time. When I finished my exam, it was around 8:30 p.m. and it was dark, and I had to take a 30-minute bus ride to get home. That's basically how I went through the exam. Did I feel like the exam is hard? Well, at least it wasn't easy, and that's how I felt. And I can't really share about the exam content, what was on the exam, what wasn't, because CFA Institute policies do not allow us to talk about that. But I still can talk whether I have passed the exam and how I felt about the exam. Based on CFA Institute, whether one is preparing for the level 1 or past the level 3, they're the same. They're called CFA candidate. There's no CFA level 1 candidate, level 2 candidate, or level 3 candidate. There's only one candidate, and that is CFA candidate. Unless you got the certificate, you are a candidate while preparing for the exam. So in terms of what I'm called, passing the level 1 does not make a difference. I'm still CFA candidate. I've seen some people calling themselves CFA level 2 candidate after passing the level 1, which is very weird. The CFA level 1 materials clearly say that there's no level 2 candidate or level 1 candidate. There's only CFA candidate. I know that in one of my earlier videos, I talked about why I regret taking CFA level 1, and I look very happy passing it now. However, those points that I raised in that video are still valid. I still regret taking CFA level 1, although I passed the exam. Why I regret taking CFA level 1, although I passed the exam? That's because it's an expensive exam that cost me $1,800 and 600 hours of my time. If I spend this much time and this much money on my YouTube channel would have been much better. And the financial returns of this investment are more likely, more imminent, and more promising. However, with that said, I never regret gaining the knowledge from reading the materials of CFA Level 1 exam. And by reading the materials, I gained a lot of finance knowledge, personal finance knowledge that will benefit me for a very long time and probably for the rest of my life. That's without exaggeration. And in another earlier video of mine, I talked about why I regret taking Harvard Business School online. Very similar to what I talked about CFA Level 1 in the earlier video. Again, I said I regret taking the courses, but I never regret gaining the knowledge. Why? Because I think the courses are expensive, and I'm glad and feel lucky that I learned the knowledge, such as how the balance between supply and demand in the market determines the price of a product. And I never learned that at school because I did not major in finance. However, I still regret spending 170 hours and $250,000 on the knowledge that I can learn on my own just by reading related books. With that $2,500, I can actually buy about 50 books and read for a year and gain similar knowledge or even more knowledge than what I learned from watching their videos. That's what I regret, and I never regret gaining the knowledge. To me, knowledge is always helpful. Degree is expensive, knowledge is cheap. It's there, you just need to spend some time to put it into your head. Getting back to our topic of CFA. So, what are my scores? There's no score yet, but they did give me a chart of my performance on the exam to see for now. And my score is between the minimum passing score and 90th percentile. Looking at this chart, I think my score is around 85 percentile and probably less than 86 percentile. That means I barely passed it, but I'm glad. Still regret. Keep in mind that this is a finance exam designed for people majoring in finance, albeit it's open to people in other majors. That means that I'm competing against professional finance people as a non-finance major neuroscientist. Some of them have been in finance probably for several years. Some of them are probably just graduated from their finance major, and some of them are final year finance students. Considering that, I think I did quite well. I did better than 84% of the people who wrote exam in August this year. That's good. But if you are thinking to take CFA, think twice and make a good decision. Don't take this exam just because others are taking it. Getting a certificate designation is a journey of multiple years. You really need to be good at time management because preparation for each of the exams is extremely demanding, especially if you are a non-finance person like me. I personally think that CFA is a set of exams that is designed to select and filter the best and brightest finance employee to work in the top investment banks. And if you want to be an investor, I think taking CFA is not going to help you a lot. You have to struggle on your own, learn from books, from experts, from your success and failures. If you are wondering how finance works, don't rush to take CFA. Instead, read a lot of books, a lot of finance books, and your understanding of finance will gradually become very solid. I think everyone should know about how finance basically works. However, that's not possible. For an individual, knowing how interest rates are calculated, how monetary policies and fiscal policies are going to affect your personal income, personal finance, is very important, especially if you are running businesses, big or small. That's why finance and accounting are key parts of MBA programs. If you want to be an MBA, you don't have to be an expert in finance, but you do have to know the basics. In your daily life, knowing how to make finance decisions will help you a lot. Like, are you going to go with fixed mortgage rate versus variable mortgage rate? Are you going to buy your company's stocks with all of your money or diversify to index funds such as S&P 500? Are you going to speculate Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that bear no intrinsic value? Or are you going to buy an apartment, rent it out, and collect rents? Are you going to buy Tesla versus a gasoline car? These are very real questions that impact individuals. from day to day. And if you know how finance works behind the scenes, you'll make better decisions with more confidence. You don't have to be an expert in finance, but the basic knowledge of finance is going to help you. It may look like I'm promoting CFA, but actually I'm not. I'm promoting finance knowledge only, which is very beneficial if you learn well. Anyway, I'll find another time to discuss more about personal finance. Whether next time I'm going to take the level 2 or level 3 is something that I'm still thinking about, but is less likely to happen. That depends on how well my YouTube channel grows and whether I have time and need for that. And that's all I want to talk about today. Thanks for watching and listening. Please don't forget to destroy the like button below and smash the subscribe button if you haven't. And also don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time.